Good evening and welcome to Athens City Council. It's Monday, April 21st at 7 p.m. and we are in regular session this evening. I'd like to start by acknowledging that here in Athens County we live and work on land originally settled and developed by earlier people, particularly the Shawnee and the Osage, and those identified through cultures commonly known as the Adena, Hopewell, and Fort Ancient. This acknowledgement reminds us of the importance of honoring history, people, and the planet as we work to improve our city's legacy. Our first order of business is to establish quorum. All council members are present and we have quorum. The next item of business is disposition of the minutes for the regular session of City Council held April 7th, 2025. May I have a motion for these minutes?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any comments or questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The minutes have been approved. We next moved on to communications. I would just like to remind everyone that tomorrow is Earth Day, April 22nd. The community and the university will together be holding our annual Earth Day parade. Although this year it will start at Passion Works, and we are engaging with the Passion Works community to join us as we march down Court Street, across the College Green, and then back to Passion Works. And that starts at 12 p.m. At 1 p.m., Baker Center, third floor atrium, will be holding some festivities. If you'd like to further conversations about sustainability or our lovely planet Earth, please join the Office of Sustainability in the Baker Atrium from 1 to 2:30. Any other communications from council members? Member Swank.
Yes, I, like other members of council, received a communication from a resident, and I've gotten some sense concerning electricity in the city of Athens and SOPEC and all of that. I'm going to withhold comment till we get to announcements and other business to explore that in greater detail.
Okay, thank you, Member Swank. I reached out to SOPEC for a direct response, which I believe everyone received, although it was not too long ago that I sent that to you all, so we can discuss that later. Any other communications from elected officials? Treasurer Thomas, Mayor Patterson, I'm sorry, Law Director Eliason. We usually start with you. Mayor Patterson.
I just have one item to share. Earlier today, I met with a group of 4 international graduate students here in the city building. I spoke with Graduate Student Senate approximately a week and a half ago, and heard a lot of their concerns. This group came back and said they wanted to engage with me further on temporary housing support for international students. I learned a lot in talking with them about the challenges that they have when, one, getting a notice of acceptance from Ohio University and then having to go through the visa process in order to get their F1 visas, and the issues surrounding finding housing in a rather short period of time to when a lot of the housing has been taken up, at least close-in housing is under contract with leases for a lot of our undergraduate students or non-international graduate students, and therefore forcing them to look further outside the city, to where they would have to rely in a lot of cases on public transit, which also has its current issues. And so I have agreed to continue to work with this group and bringing in other stakeholders in our business sector here in Athens, as well as Co-Create and others, to see if we can find a reasonable solution to some of the problems that, again, our international students are facing, in particular our international graduate students. I'm passionate about this particular issue, largely because we are, as OU and the City of Athens strives to continue to be inclusive and welcoming. You know, this is a real stumbling block that we have to figure out how to resolve moving forward in time, which could lead to other international students through the grapevine hearing that it's difficult here locally, and therefore it could certainly impact international student students wanting to come to Ohio University, but recognizing that there are challenges. So just wanted to mention that to council and know that this is something that I'm going to continue to work with this group in rather short order because 3 of them are graduating. So yay for the ones who are graduating in 2 weeks. But that's all I have for you, council.
Thank you, Mayor Patterson. We will now move on to ordinances for third reading. I will read the titles and introduce the council member introducing the ordinance. Ordinance 39-25 is an ordinance amending Ordinance 08-25, authorizing the Service Safety Director to advertise and accept bids where necessary and enter into contract for construction of the rehabilitation of the Stimson Avenue Bridge, amending the 2025 Appropriation Ordinance 115-24 and Ordinance 30-24, authorizing engineering services for said project, number 358, and declaring an emergency. Introduced by Councilmember Spianis.
Thank you, President Krell. So this has been in front of council several times now at various iterations and whatnot. We talked about it last week, and so I don't think I need to go into all the details. Essentially, obviously, we need to do something with the Stimson Avenue Bridge. Anybody who's been over it has some idea that it needs some help. And we were able to get some additional funding to reduce the overall costs of this last bid. So we're in pretty good shape, actually. So I'm debating whether I need to read it again.
No.
President Krell, do I need to?
No, I don't believe you do, but it's up to you, Member Spianis.
I don't think we need to read it again. So if we could just, I'd like to move that we pass this ordinance.
Second?
Thank you. We have a motion and a second for approval. Are there any comments or questions? None from city council members, elected officials, administration, audience members. Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The motion carries and the ordinance is approved.
Thank God.
Ordinance 40-25 is an ordinance declaring certain police department firearms and other equipment no longer needed for a municipal purpose, introduced by Councilmember McCary.
Thank you, President Krell. Just briefly, Section 1 reads, Athens City Council hereby declares 32 firearms, 23 tasers, 19 radios, 8 cases of ammunition, and assorted taser-related equipment as per the list attached hereto and incorporated herein by reference, no longer needed for municipal purpose. And I would like to move that we adopt Ordinance 40-25.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for approval. Are there any comments or questions from city council members, elected officials, city administration, audience members? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The motion carries and the ordinance is approved. Ordinance 41-25 is an ordinance authorizing the Service Safety Director to enter into a perpetual amended easement and right-of-way agreement with Columbia Gas Transmission, LLC, for continued maintenance of existing water and sewer lines, introduced by Councilmember Swank.
Thank you, President Crowell. The title pretty much says it all. The only thing I would add is this is bringing a almost 100-year-old pipeline up to modern standards, which be good for safety and the environment. Mr. President, I move the council pass 41-25.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve 41-25. Are there any comments or questions? Elected officials, city administration, audience members? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The motion carries and the ordinance is approved. This evening, we have no ordinances for second reading, so we will go directly into ordinances for first reading. Ordinance 43-25 is an ordinance amending the 2025 Appropriation Ordinance 115-24, introduced by Councilmember Reisner.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to read the pertinent section. Section 1, the 2025 Appropriation Ordinance 115-24 is hereby amended by appropriating from the unappropriated balance $30,000 to Water Fund 740.637, Transaction Code 300, to be reimbursed by the Ohio EPA for abandonment of unused wells and increasing the total appropriations by said amount. That's it.
Excellent. Are there any comments or questions on this ordinance? Member Clodfelter?
I am curious, what kind of wells are these? Are these gas wells or?
Water wells.
They are water wells, okay.
Yeah,
And
they're-
will anything be needed other than water to clean them out? I mean, is this going to be a really involved process?
Well, the pumps will have to be removed, and then the hole or shaft, what you want to call it, will have to be filled with grout and covered up, and then the area rehabilitated with seed and grass and things.
Okay, thank you. And do
Yeah.
they think that this $30,000 will be enough to take care of several of them?
Apparently, yeah.
Okay, thank
Yeah.
you.
As I understand it, there's no value in the equipment that they're removing. It's just too old, it's just scrap.
Okay.
Any additional comments or questions? Elected officials, city administration, audience members? Seeing none. Ordinance 44-24 is an ordinance amending Ordinance 121-24, authorizing 2025 staffing levels, introduced by the Finance and Personnel Committee.
Thank you, Mr. President. 44-25 does the following: is authorizing staff levels in the Recreation and Community Center are hereby amended to read as follows, and as you probably see on your screen, there's a list of various funds, departments, positions, and full-time equivalents for pay. So what we have here is under Recreation Program Specialist, Athletics and Fitness, we'll have an FTE of 0.25, and under Community Center Program Specialist, Athletic and Fitness, we'll have an FTE of 0.75. And there we have it.
Thank you, Member Reisner. Any comments or questions? Member Swank?
When I look at this chart, it appears that we're reducing the number of operations specialists from 2 to 1. Is that correct?
That's the way I understand it, yep.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
And then that person, I guess, is being reclassified.
Correct.
Quarter coming out of recreation, a quarter coming out of community center.
That's correct.
Or
Yes,
three
that-
quarters,
yeah,
I'm sorry,
three
I
quarters,
misspoke.
yes,
3
okay.
quarters, yeah,
Yeah,
3 quarters.
that's right.
There you go.
Are both of those general fund expenditures, or are those something else?
No, they'd have to come out of the general fund because none of the levies were set up to pay for staff.
Okay, well, what I'm getting at is, with the reclassification of that, we're looking at a salary increase of $10,900 on the low end to $14,700 on the high end. Can the budget accommodate that?
Well, you're eliminating one position, which therefore would not be paid, and you're reclassifying another position, so I'll let the mayor handle that one.
The answer is yes.
Yes.
The person who's retiring is maxed out on the high end of that pay grade, and so this will basically be a wash if we bring this new person in to that higher, I don't want to say pay grade, that higher band, but again, it's going to be a zero-sum gain, so it's not going to cost the city more for that position. Now, 3, 4, 5 years down the road, it's going to be more as that person progresses through that pay grade.
Oh, okay, yes, I see. So the person, if they're at the top end, are $23.98, and if the new person comes in at the bottom, $23.01, we're looking at 97 cents an hour. Yeah, okay, very good. Thank you.
Any other comments or questions on this ordinance? Elected officials, city administration, anything to add? Members of the public? Okay, ordinance 45-25 is an ordinance amending ordinance 116-24, 2025 non-union compensation, authorized pay grades in the Recreation and Community Center, introduced by the Finance and Personnel Committee.
Thank you, Mr. President. This ordinance is also part of the previous ordinance. Section 1, an ordinance amending ordinance 116-24, 2025 non-union compensation, authorized pay grades in the Recreation and Community Center as attached hereto and incorporated herein by reference, and the attachment, I believe Member Swank was referring to it, is right here. So, if anyone has any questions, let's go to the spreadsheet. And that's it.
Any comments or questions on this ordinance? Elected officials, city administration, members of the public? Seeing none. Ordinance 46-25 is an ordinance amending Section 7, Educational Requirements of Ordinance 117-24, the 2025 Fringe Benefits Package for non-union personnel within the city of Athens, introduced by the Finance and Personnel Committee.
Thank you, Mr. President. Allow me to read the pertinent sections, then if there's any comments, we could try to answer as best we can. Whereas the mayor intends to appoint Jared Balderson as the next city engineer and director of public works, and whereas Mr. Balderson has the experience and displays the necessary leadership qualities to lead the city's largest and most complex department, and whereas Mr. Balderson holds an ABET accredited bachelor's degree in electrical engineering and the necessary experience to sit for the Ohio Engineering Principles and Practice exam, but has not yet done so. Be it ordained by the Council of the City of Athens, Ohio, Section 1, Section 7, Educational Requirements of Ordinance 117-24, the 2025 Fringe Benefits Package for non-union personnel is hereby amended to postpone the educational requirements for 2 years from the date of appointment, allowing Mr. Balderson the necessary time to complete the required state applications and examinations, and shall read as follows. And then we have the various educational requirements and so on, which I can read if you really want to hear it, but I think I'll pass on that one. I just want to say I think this would be a great appointment, and I'm really pleased that we're looking within the city's organization to find qualified people and bring them forward and put them in charge of something that they're very well qualified and experienced to do. So I think this would be a great opportunity. So we should take advantage of it.
Thank you, Member Reisner. Any comments or questions? Member McCary?
Thank you. I was curious, what would be the mechanism if we needed to extend that 2-year period for completing those additional educational requirements?
Well, that'd make if the administration decided to do so, then we'd have to make an amendment to this ordinance. So it'd just be a simple legislative process, but I really don't foresee that coming. I think the point of 2 years is that if the person can't do it within 2 years, then we may have to look elsewhere.
New draft pick.
Yeah. Kevin Costner. Yeah.
Others, Member Swank.
I know when we had a retirement in the mayor's office, we brought an individual in early to train. Mr. Mayor, is there any need for us to expedite this so that we can get Mr. Balderson hired and on board, or the 3 reading process work?
I think the 3 reading process is going to work just fine.
Okay.
You know, we had a great conversation, great interview, if you will, with Mr. Balderson. He's very qualified already. He knows engineering and public works. So he's already started studying for his PE. So I don't think we need to expedite anything.
Okay.
Let's go through the 3 readings.
Other comments or questions from City Council? Elected officials? Anything else to add, Mayor? Members of the public? Thank you. Ordinance 47-25 is an ordinance authorizing a contract with the Washington County Commissioners and declaring an emergency, introduced by Councilmember McCary.
Thank you, President Crowell. This is a very short piece of business that we complete on an annual basis, and Section 1 reads that the Service Safety Director is hereby authorized to enter into a 1-year contract from May 1st, 2025 through April 30th, 2026 with the Washington County Commissioners for the housing of prisoners in accordance with the contract attached hereto and incorporated herein by reference. This was discussed thoroughly in committee. It's just $100 per day per prisoner, and again, this is an annual process that we go through.
Thank you, Member McCary. I'll just note that we had a discussion at committee when this came up about closures in Nelsonville. The STAR facility is different than the Southeast Ohio jail there. It's the Star facility that is closing and not the jail
Not the
there.
jail,
But there was an interesting question that was brought up. Any other comments or questions from city council members on this Washington County Jail contract?
I have a question to the mayor. Do the rules need to be suspended on this? It starts on May 1st.
Oh,
and our
absolutely.
next
It needs to be
meeting is
suspended.
May 5th.
It does.
So I think this would qualify as a circumstance whereby the rules could be suspended. And I'm aware that Chief Magruder only recently received this contract. This contract requires, it says in here resolution, but counties do resolutions, cities do ordinances, so it requires an ordinance.
Thank you very much for that advice, Director Eliason.
Question?
Another question?
I'm just going to move that we suspend the rules on 4725.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to suspend the rules for 47-25. Comments or questions about this suspension of the rules?
Do we just need to specify that this is to meet the contract start date of May 1st, 2025?
That would be great.
Thank you. Appreciate that, Member
Thank you.
McCary. All those in favor of suspending the rules for 47-25 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The rules are suspended, Member Swank.
I would move that council pass 4725.
Seconded.
We have a motion and a second to approve 47-25. Any comments or questions from city council members? Elected officials, city administration, members of the public? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The motion carries, and 47-25 has been approved. 48-25 is an ordinance declaring a real and present emergency, thus obviating the formal bidding procedure for a slip repair on Joneswood Drive, introduced by Councilmember Spianos.
Yes, thank you, President Crowell. For all of you who have seen pictures, and I think just about everybody has, obviously this is something that needs to be taken care of right away. It's urgent, so we talked about it last week and decided we would go through it this time. So Section 1, due to the need for immediate action to repair a slip on Joneswood Drive that is in danger of imminent failure, the City of Athens hereby declares an emergency situation pursuant to Iowa Revised Code Section 735-051. So we want to have a suspension of the rules. It does talk about needing $600,000 the street, from the street fund 220 transaction code 500, increasing the total appropriations by said amount. Section 3, the service safety is hereby authorized to expend up to $600,000 from street fund 220 transaction code 500 for said slip repair. So we need to suspend the rules. So I move that we suspend the rules because of the imminent emergency that needs to be taken care of.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to suspend the rules for 48-25. Any comments or questions on the suspension of the rules? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The rules have been suspended, Member Spianos.
Okay, so I move that we pass ordinance 48-25 to get this poor street fixed and we can move on.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second to approve ordinance 48-25 for the Joneswood slip repair. Any comments or questions from council on this? Is that a hand, Member Wood? Yes.
Yeah, thank you. Obviously, this is critically important, and thankful to see the administration taking every due action quickly. Wanted to follow up on questions about adding traffic calming measures, anything we can do to reduce that, and also wanted to see if we knew what the timeline would look like with this, if we had, just for public information, how long we expect it to take to get sorted.
Yeah, thank you. Let me start with the traffic calming. It is something that we plan to include in this for Joneswood. We can, since we're going to be working on the street anyway, we can go ahead and put traffic calming elements on Joneswood itself. When it comes to the time frame in which getting this done, we're hoping to be able to get this done within 6 weeks to 2 months. And we've been in contact with contractors that we know of and ask them, as I think I mentioned to council, to give us a surety that they have I-beams in place, at least 30-foot long I-beams, and a contractor has said that they have that in stock, so that's one of the things that is probably the most important, being able to get this done quickly, is making sure that they have the materials they need quickly, as opposed to all of the alleged tariffs that are out there floating around, and the effects on supply chain. So we feel good and confident about this. Once we're able to get this done, we have been approached by a few individuals or companies that are interested in removing the house, the structure itself, but not until we get this roadway completed and safely operational again. Because that comes number one. As you guys all recognize, we've lost half of the width of that street for a run of about 60 feet. So we need to get this done.
Any other comments or questions from City Council on this ordinance? Anything to add, Mayor? Public, please let us know your name, your address, whether you represent yourself or a group, and you can have 3 minutes. Thanks for being here, Barbara.
My name is Barbara Stout. I live at 950 State Street. My father lives at 15 Joneswood. I thank you for moving on this quickly, but I have another concern. When going to visit my father, terrace is not in great condition. Now, it looks somewhat similar to what Joneswood looked like maybe 9 months ago, because this slip did not come out of nowhere. I drive to see my father, who I've said before is 95, and so I'm on that street frequently, and it had been noticeably sinking for quite some time. I have some pictures I took this morning of terrace. I want you to look through it. Just swipe this way. So this is what terrace looks like right now. You can pass it down. I'm concerned because, and my father's concerned because if any part of that street went out, access would be very difficult. And I said to my dad, well, other people can walk out and you can't. And he said, well, I could walk out, but it might take me 2 or 3 days. I mean, he's still mobile and he's sharp as a tack, but he will be 96 in June. So I would like to have it looked at. I mean, right now it just looks like a series of potholes, but they're in a line and they're dipping that way. So it's worrisome because that is similar to what Joneswood looked like. The other thing I want to say is today I had to go to the dentist and I looked directly up from where Athens Dental Depot is. That's where this house is, and it's noticeably moved since last week, and it's like hanging, like in a movie, you know, when the car goes and it almost goes off and then it's teetering like this, and are the people going to get out? And I never realized until I looked very closely today how sheer the drop-off is in that backyard, because the trees sort of disguise it and make it look like it's a gentler slope than it really is. And those trees are not big trees. There are a lot of red bud and things like that. I don't see how the trees are going to hold them if it slips. So I don't know. I'm not an engineer, but it looks very, very worrisome to me. So I think that should be looked into. Just saying, oh, the trees will stop it and it'll never hit Columbus Road, I don't think is exactly accurate. So I just would like you to look at those two things, because if terrace goes out, there are about 14 houses that are affected. Also, about the traffic, I was at my dad's house last night, and all of a sudden we hear this roaring, and I go, what? And I go running out, and I look, and some dude on a Harley went right past the barricades, went roaring down, hit where the slip is, turned around, and went roaring back. And my dad said, oh yeah, it happens once or twice a day. So there really is a problem with the traffic up there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate your comments.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. And
Thank
I'm
you for
sure
showing us those
the mayor will have someone look into that. Yeah, I have no doubt.
Anyone else from the public like to speak on this ordinance? Okay, we have suspended the rules, and we are now voting. Did we have a vote to approve? Yes, okay. So all those in favor of approving 48-25 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries, and 48-25 has been approved. 49-25 is an ordinance closing East Union Street between Court and University Terrace on Thursday, June 19th, 2025, from 1 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. for the Community Juneteenth celebration. Introduced by Councilmember Spielness.
Yes, thank you. So what had happened was we had those several conversations about street closures and agreed upon a bunch, and then this one came a little after we'd kind of gotten far enough, so we decided to do this one separately. This one we've done a few years now in a row to celebrate the Juneteenth period in Texas where they were able to get the slaves, the enslaved peoples, free, or they found out they were free. In any case, they completed all the documents, they've done everything they needed to. We're not rushed here, but, and this is a cooperation with the university and several other organizations, including the city, so I'm hoping this will go through. If anybody has any questions, I've got all the material right here.
Thank you, Member Spielness. Any comments or questions on the closure of Union for Juneteenth?
Oh, I should say it's closed East Union Street between Court and University Terrace to vehicular traffic between 1 and 7:30 on Thursday, June 19th. So it is going to be on the actual date, which we hadn't done before.
Are all council members good? I'm not sure
I'll be abstaining.
Okay, so
Yeah.
this evening you're good. Okay, all right. And that has been read for the first time. Any community members want to speak to this closure? Okay. Ordinance 50-25 is an ordinance suspending the enforcement of Athens City Code, Chapter 11.04, vending, peddling, and soliciting, to allow vending in a designated area during the Community Juneteenth celebration, introduced by Councilmember Spielness.
Yes, this is married to the same ordinance in that in order to have this event, they have to requested that we suspend the enforcement of Athens City Code Chapter 1104, as he said, so that they can have some vendors and some food and whatnot for this event. So that's really all it is.
Thank you, Member Spielness. Any comments or questions on the vending issue? City administration, members of the public. Thank you. Ordinance 51-25 is an ordinance requesting the law director to file a civil lawsuit for injunctive relief for the unauthorized use of the City of Athens right-of-way at 37 and 37.5 Woodward Avenue, introduced by Councilmember Swank.
This has been discussed in committee, and because it is a legal matter, bear with me and I will work through the ordinance. Whereas the owner of 37 and 37.5 Woodward Avenue constructed a brick paver patio and curbing in the city's right-of-way without first applying to the city for said use of city right-of-way, and whereas upon a complaint made to the Code Enforcement Office, the owner was informed of an unauthorized use of the city right-of-way and issued a notice of violation pursuant to Athens City Code Sections 49.07.01A, right-of-way construction permits, and 23.06.02A, zoning permit, and whereas it is the consensus of the Athens City Council Planning and Development Committee to request the city law director to file a civil lawsuit for injunctive relief for the unauthorized use of the city right-of-way and seek an order that the property owner remove the paver patio and curbing from the city right-of-way. Be it ordained by the Council of the City of Athens, Ohio, Section 1, Athens City Council does hereby request the city law director to file a civil lawsuit for injunctive relief against Cameron Tope / Emerson Property Management, LLC, in the Athens County Court of Common Pleas for the unauthorized use of the city right-of-way, and for an order for said owner to remove the paver patio and curbing from the city right-of-way. The ordinance shall be in full force and effect at the earliest moment permitted by law upon its passage and approval by the mayor.
Thank you, Member Swank. Any comments or questions? Member Spielness.
Yeah, my question is, has the owners in question, have they been notified that this is under discussion? Have they said anything?
I sent an email to Mr. Tope. I'd had communications with him back in, I don't know, I think November, December. And so I did have a good email address for him, and I told him that this was going to be discussed at council tonight and up for first reading. So yes.
And no
What
response?
my plan is to now, once this has had first reading, is to send it to him, probably by email and also by regular mail. So he knows that we've had first reading on this ordinance.
Okay, thank you.
Member Clodfelter.
I'm curious if this property owner would suddenly decide to remove it on his own initiative, would the lawsuit then stop?
So long as he didn't have anything in the city right away. Now, there are going to be 2 more readings, and so he will have an opportunity to remove it before we actually file the lawsuit.
Okay. Good.
Member Wood.
Wanted to share that I've heard from a number of my neighbors in this neighborhood supporting this move and thanking us for taking this action. And also wanted to relay that I think it was on Friday driving home. Again, I drive past this every day on my way to and from my house. They had a nice giant U-Haul parked across that patio and taking out into the street. So I think we can all predictably see what happens if we are going to leave it as a patio. And again, urge council to join in this action and have it removed.
Thank you, Member Wood. Any other council members like to speak to this? Elected officials, city administration, members of the public? Okay, thank you. That is our final first reading, and we now move on to announcements and other business. May I please have a motion to accept the March 2024 financial reports?
So moved.
Seconded.
We have a motion and a second to approve these reports. Any comments or questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The March 24 financial reports are approved.
March 25.
May I please have a motion to accept the February 2025 credit card transactions?
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second to accept these credit card transactions. Any questions or comments on these transactions? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The credit card transactions from February 25 are accepted. Any other announcements and other business? Member Swank.
As I alluded to in the communication section early on, several comments from residents of the city. Also, every member of council received an email from a citizen about energy, particularly electricity and how everything works and all of that. I did talk to that individual today. Member Thomas, I believe, corresponded with him by email. He was very appreciative of that fact. And I thought this would be a great opportunity just to kind of review, since it's been such a long time that the City of Athens entered into agreement with our aggregation company, SOPEC, to kind of put in layperson's terms what this is all about and what people can do and how they can save the environment and also benefit financially. If you live in the City of Athens, you're automatically included in the aggregation, SOPEC. The purpose of an aggregation is hopefully to buy energy at a cost that would be better than a person could get on their own. And to a certain extent, it's been successful depending on the market, and the market since 2017 has been up and down and around and every which way. If you don't want to participate in it, you can opt out, and you have 2 options. One is to opt out for the standard service option from AEP. And as I said last week, and this is what started the conversations from citizens, is using the standard service option is kind of like going to a car dealership and buying a car at sticker price. We won't know what that standard service option is until probably June 1st when AEP sets that rate, and that's normally when they do. But generally, it is higher than the rate we can get through the aggregation with SOPEC. So that's an option that everybody has. There is also another option, and Ryan, if you'd be so kind, that everybody can take advantage here in the state of Ohio. We're one of the few states in the country where you can do this. The site is energychoice.ohio.gov. It's a PUCO site. And to do this, you simply go to that site and you pick electric. And then, of course, you're picking residential. And you scroll down to American Electric Power. Then you fill in the blanks. So I'm hoping I can get some electricity for 7 cents per kilowatt hour. So I'm going to put that in as the low number. And the SOPEC rate is right under 10, so let's use 10. Hoping to find electricity in that rate per kilowatt hour. Our contract with SOPEC, as we heard last week, is for 12 months, so I want to do a true apples for apples comparison. Now here's where you often get into trouble. Some companies will sign you up, but if you want to leave, it costs you money. SOPEC is not that way. You can opt out. So we want to put no fee for opting out. And here's another one. They'll give you this wonderful rate, 5 cents an hour, but we're going to charge you a monthly fee. SOPEC does not do that. So we don't want to have a monthly fee. Now, here's where it gets fun. Renewable content. You can pick what you want, but if we're going to do a true apples for apples comparison, I want 100% renewable. It's REX, but technically that is renewable. And the rate type I want is I want a fixed rate. I want to pay the same amount per kilowatt hour for the entire 12 months. Don't want it, the ups and downs and all that. This locks you in. Price we're looking for is 7 cents to 10 cents. The current rate I'm paying right now is 7.34 cents that I got back in February. I shop about every 6 months, and that's a great rate, but that's going to go away come June 1st. Length 12 months, no fee for early termination, no monthly fee, and I want renewable content, and I want a fixed rate. At that point in time, I simply hit filter results, and we have a handful. 9.79 from Clean Sky Energy, 8.98 from Shipley, 9.69 from Brighton, 9.69 from Brighton, and 8.99 from Inspire. So we have 5 choices in there. What I've done in the past is I don't sign up online. I pick up the phone and call because I want to talk with someone to make sure that what I'm doing is exactly what that is being advertised, and they record the call and all of that. Just as a point of reference, for every penny you can save if you're using 1,000 kilowatt hours a month, works out to $120 a year. For every penny you can save if you're using 1,000 kilowatt hours a month, which is about average, is $120 a year. And I know that people are very cost conscious. Some people say, well, $120 isn't that much. Some people, that's the difference between putting shoes on your children and food on the table, or giving your family the opportunity that so many of us take for granted. So the rate I get right now, 7.34, I'm saving 2.5 cents. I'm saving $300 a year. And over a period of time, that adds up. But that's another option you have. One of the advantages we have with SOPEC, there's also the carbon fee. So if you use 1,000 kilowatt hours a year, that's $24 you pay into the carbon fee, which we've been able to use for solar projects throughout the city. But that's a third choice. And when I talked with the gentleman on the phone today and walked him through this, he recently moved from out west. He said, boy, this is great information. I wish I had known this when we got here 2 years ago. Could have saved a lot of money, because he was on the standard service offer, which is higher than this and higher than the SOPEC aggregation. But it's a very, very simple thing. Energy Choice Ohio, anybody can participate in it. You can also do it for gas too. I'm not going to go through that, but you can also do it for gas. And then we got, I think today, about 6:15 an email. Is there anything, President Crowell, from that email that we need to add to the conversation, sir?
No, I don't believe so. They do talk about the tariff schedule code 820, a residential tariff for your utility, which is noted on all residential accounts that are on a supply other than the standard service offer. But I think you explained it well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor Patterson?
Yeah, Councilmember Swank, you may want to mention the gas aggregation, since you talked about the electric aggregation. And it's worth stating that as well. You don't have to go through the whole apples to apples, but again, we are under a gas aggregation program.
It's the same thing. I won't go through the whole thing, but you just hit natural gas and you put in residential. And I'll just go to the next screen just so people know where to go. We're Columbia Gas of Ohio.
But the aggregation program.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. For electricity, we are part of the SOPEC aggregation. For gas, the city of Athens is part of NOPEC. And the NOPEC rate right now is as cheap as anything on the apples to apples. I believe it's 7.1 per, and they measure gas different than they do electricity, kilowatt hours versus CCF. But NOPEC. And from NOPEC, like we have with SOPEC, we get grant money. Some of the things we put in are the solar-powered bus stops. On the Far East Side, the solar-powered streetlights. See Mr. Thomas in the back. There's a couple on his street there. Because over on the Far East Side, the only streetlights run on Dalton and Jacobs. And there's nothing on that block between. And to give you an idea how long that block between is, it would take Joe Burrow 3 throws of a football to cover that block. They're long. And we were able to put these lights in mid-thing. Anything else that we've gotten from the NOPEC grant? I know those two off the top of my head.
We re-outfitted the entire community center with LED lights using that program. We had started the voltage program, which was, I don't want to say wildly successful. It was certainly successful where people could turn in or get rid of their 2-stroke lawnmowers or yard equipment and show proof of purchase to get electric, and then got a rebate of up to $200, I believe, maybe $250 for a lawnmower. So that was a good program. And then this year went through council already, was to have a lot of electric equipment for our cemetery details to go in and provide as quiet a space as possible for those who are interned there.
Both organizations, SOPEC for electricity, NOPEC for gas, are community partners, and we've benefited greatly from them. And I don't want to get the cart before the horse here, but there have been some preliminary conversations about using both or one of the other's no-knock program. It's to kind of protect people from, shall we say, folks selling these products but not necessarily telling the whole story in terms of length of contract and so on and so forth. So something we hope to explore in the future.
I'm glad that Member Swank mentioned Joe Burrow, because it reminds me that we have a new champion in town. Our very own Gwyneth Phillips won a world ice hockey championship for the United States this past weekend as a goalkeeper. And we're very proud of Gwyneth as well as Joe. Any other announcements or other business from City Council? Okay, we will have committee meetings next Monday night, so chairs should get any items to the clerk by Wednesday. We now have an opportunity for citizens to speak on legislative items and city services not covered on the agenda. Would anyone like to come forward and speak? Thank you, Mr. Thomas.
Hey. Hello, Aaron Thomas, Avon Place. Nothing on agenda, but I just want to publicly thank the city, the mayor, the mayor's office, the council for supporting Black Alumni Weekend this year. Most of you all know the backstory, but a group of us came together, including Councilman Carey, put this together in 4 weeks, and it was a huge success, I believe. You know, we had just under 500 people show up here in town. The local businesses came through. My biggest thing was not to let this die out because of the state saying that we couldn't have it, but also it brings so many people back to Athens. And the goal was to show the state of Ohio, not just Ohio University, that we can have this without worrying about them. But at the same time, it is a huge draw to our community. And I'm hoping to continue to do this more frequently versus 3 years. But a big round of applause to the city of Athens. A lot of the classes, the 70s and 80s alumni that came back here were so overwhelmed by the support the city was giving them. The Athens tourism came through, gave us packets with maps and booklets. The Athens Foundation came through and helped us out with some of the funding. Local businesses gave us great deals on food. The hotels worked with us. So it was a huge success, and I just want to thank you all publicly for making this happen, because without you all, this probably wouldn't have happened. Thank you to Councilman Swank for showing up at the cookout, even though all the Miller's chicken was already gone. So he came out. So once again, thank you all for all the support.
Thank you. May I comment on that?
Yeah, please.
Thank you very much for your comments, Mr. Thomas. And I would just like to say publicly one thing that I wrote on a note on your door the other day, which is I am friends with Dr. T. Ford Ahmed, who has been a real leader in the African-American community of Athens for a long time. And she was really singing the praises of Mr. Thomas for the way he stepped up into a really, really effective leadership role. When they had to change, kind of turn on a dime to scramble and still have this event this year for reasons I won't mention. A lot of that success he was just talking about was due to his efforts. So I would publicly like to thank you, Mr. Thomas, for helping to make that event such a success.
Mayor?
I have a question and a comment as well, I guess. Mr. Thomas, my question is, in what way could the city continue to help if we were to have this every year as opposed to every 3 years, which I really like the idea of doing something like this?
Well, one of the biggest help that the city was the locations. I mean, this come up a lot, is just the lack of locations for events outside of the university campus. The Richland Avenue Park was fantastic, for the year. It was kind of chilly that week, but it warmed up on that Saturday. But the community center is always alternative. But the biggest thing is that we talked about was having these events. The Southeast Historical Society, they came through for our Friday event, and I was telling some of the alumni that came back about what is to come with the Armory, with Mount Zion, just so we can have alternatives moving forward, because this will become a new norm if everything remains the same at the state of Ohio. So it will be private groups like myself throughout the state. Our goal was to show the rest of the state that this can happen, because it wasn't just us that this was going on to. Right before the Ohio University paused the alumni, Ohio State cut their whole multicultural center in their whole department. And the University of Miami of Ohio just cut their entire department on Thursday or Friday. So it is going around the state. It's not just a OU thing, but it's a state of Ohio thing. And this was a huge conversation at a town hall meeting too. But we are working on possibly doing it more frequently. We just don't want to take away the nostalgia of the every 3 years. Maybe every 2 years. We talked to Boone and Joel at the Visitors Bureau, and Carrie and her team at the Athens County Foundation. So it was a huge boost. You can talk to any of the business people. They definitely saw an increase in sales and shopping uptown. A lot of people came just down for Saturday just to support. So it's talk of trying to do it every 2 years versus every 3 years, but that's just more work for me and the committee. So, but it was overwhelming. And I would say this: some of the older alumni, they didn't have the best experience when they was in Athens in the 70s. Most of us probably understand that, and the 80s. So them coming back here is huge. But them coming up to me at the cookout saying how welcoming everybody has been was great. just the fact that I see it every day living here, but for them to come back here to see how welcoming Athens has become from those times to now is always a good feeling, so.
Well, the Armory will be done at sometime this summer, later this summer, and know that my administration anyway is more than open to hosting, being a part of hosting for something if it does continue on its 3-year cycle, or you truncate it a little bit to 2 years. The last thing I wanted to share is basically what you'd heard already. You're the one who needs to be recognized for all the work that you put into this, you and your team, so thank you.
There we go, one of the team members right there.
I recognize that as well. It takes a village.
But yes, it was, for me, I looked at it on two things. A, making sure the alumni come back. B, is making sure the city still see these visits that we necessarily need as a community, so. But thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Member McCary?
Thank you, President Crowell. Just wanted to add a few more points of acknowledgement that the Pigskin and Passion Works and the Athens County Foundation, huge players, and I would like to make the community aware that the Athens County Foundation does have 3 funds that anyone can donate to. A Pride Fund recently established, a Racial Equity Fund that actually helps support this Black Alumni Weekend, and a Women's Fund. So I would encourage anyone to Google the Athens County Foundation and consider a donation.
Excellent. Anyone else from the community like to speak tonight? Seeing none, I'll have a motion to adjourn our meeting.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. We are adjourned at 7:56 PM. Thank you.